Hello, welcome to this short lecture on systems thinking. My name is James Mulcahy and I will be walking you through some examples of research that I have conducted as part of the COSY Thinking project. COSY here stands for complex and systems, so CO being complex, SY being systems. So it's complex systems thinking. And to begin this lecture, we will be doing a definition of systems thinking just to set the scene for everybody. And I will then be walking you through, as I said, the different pieces of research that I've conducted, one being a piece of software that is used to look at energy ratings for housing. I will then be looking at a video lecture, and that entails the case study of a homelessness crisis in the US. I will then be looking at an interactive tool, which is called the Stella model. So I will begin, as I said, to define systems thinking. So I have chosen this definition by Remington Duchette and Musgrave 2012. And they say that it is the ability to collectively analyze complex systems across different domains, society, environment, economy, etc., and across different scales, local to global, thereby considering cascading effects, inertia, feedback loops, and other systemic features related to sustainability issues and sustainability problem-solving frameworks. So one of the main reasons that I chose this definition is the fact that it has a clear relation to sustainable development by it mentioning society, environment, and economy, those being three very important domains and the main discussion points of sustainable development. And in order for us, I believe, to understand sustainable development, one needs to understand systems thinking, because it would be true to say that sustainable development itself is and was birthed from systems thinking and that outlook. Because in order for us to tackle issues as complex as those that entail society, environment, and economy, one needs to be able to think of that as an entire system. So I think it's important here just to make that, I suppose, that point that there is a relation between systems thinking and sustainable development. I find it easier to understand, or rather to explain that to somebody when I do make that relation. Also, in this definition, the mention of cascading effects, inertia, feedback loops, and the other systemic features is an important, I suppose, reiteration of these phrases and these concepts, because they are important in understanding systems thinking as it is. So we'll move on to our first research example. So this is a review of a software that I did for the COSY project. The software itself is called Passive House Planning Package, PHPP. PHPP is the passive house calculation tool which is used to certify passive buildings. So it is downloadable on the internet by purchase, and it can be used in the Microsoft software Excel. And it is a detailed assessment tool for buildings to determine their energy performance and compliance with the passive house standards. So the software itself utilizes systems thinking and allows the users to visually see the energy as it is inputted into the house and is used within various rooms, and the standards of the various appliances that are used, the various materials that will be used for building the house, the insulation, the quality of the windows. So it looks at the primary energy, it'll look at the heating process, and it'll look at the cooling process. And within these categories, you have an enormous amount of details to choose from that will, in the end, give you a result of the passive house standard and the quality of that house itself. So the new version, which is number 9, allows for multiple variants of building design to be entered, which enables users to analyze extensive levels of the passive housing process, essentially what I've just described there. So on to the next one. So this is a review of a video lecture which can be found on YouTube. It's called A Systems Approach to Ending Homelessness. And in this video, which was produced by Bridgeway Partners, it deals with local efforts from Calhoun County in Michigan, US, to eradicate homelessness. And the efforts have been failing to address the issue for various reasons. There were things that were being done that were not applying a systems view to the issue. These were solutions that were being put in place that would be more symptomatic solutions. Like an example of that would be increasing the availability of emergency housing, which in itself is a valiant effort to improve the situation, but it doesn't, however, address the possibility of the various reasons that that homelessness is occurring in the area. So Bridgeway Partners intervened and they applied a systems thinking approach to community building, which involved rallying political and business leaders, service providers, and involved homeless people with the aim of producing a better plan. So they came together with a much broader look at the issue at hand instead of applying a symptomatic solution. They had a look at the various different aspects of it, looking at the political aspects where political parties, local parties could help, business leaders, how they could help, service providers, and they, of course, then involved homeless people themselves to gain a better understanding as to why the problem was occurring, which, of course, itself is a system. You know, you're looking at each aspect of the issue and trying to gain every perspective in order for them to have a more informed decision to improve the issue. So this is that. We go on to the next. So, and finally, this is the review of an interactive tool. The tool is called Stella. It is a software that you can use on your computer. And in this example, we're looking at modeling population. So the scenario that I reviewed detailed that students were asked to create 3 separate Stella models that represent various system scenarios of population growth and resource use. So modeling scenarios include the predator-prey cycle, carrying capacity model of population growth, and the Easter Island civilization downfall due to overexploitation of resources. So students were able to put various details up on the software, and the predator-prey cycle, for example, they were able to put up the predator, which would be the keystone to the scenario, and the various different prey, flora and fauna that it would interact with, and they were able to look at the cycle and create a cycle. And then by doing that, you're able to see the various different connections between predator and the various different prey and the flora that does exist in that environment. So it gives the user the ability to see the system and to create the system themselves, which of course is a fantastic way of learning anything, and of course how systems thinking works. So, and then very similarly in the other 2 examples here, carrying capacity model of population growth, they were able to input various different, I suppose, situations where the capacity of a population was growing, and were able to see the issues as they arose in a modeling fashion. So they did very, very much the same for the Easter Island civilization downfall. And it's just essentially a visualization tool that can be used for any scenario that one can think of, but it's quite straightforward, visually appealing, and easy to use. So the interactive tool comes equipped with a supply of supportable downloadable content, which will show you how to use it, and so on. So that is it for this lecture. I thank you for coming to watch, and see you another day.